Alright, my people, listen. It's time for some crash damage assessment. As I said in the previous video, I did go through some of this stuff already. So, I'll just tell you what happened and what I had to do to fix it. And I do have some coolant ready to put back in the bike. So, hopefully when I do that, everything's good to go. I'll show you what was ruined too. So, here we go. Welcome back. Alright guys, so here is the V65 Sabre after crash, and unless you look closely you might not notice a whole lot of damage. We'll zoom in right here. I believe I did add this dent to the tank. It's got some fresh scratches on it, and I believe there was a dent here. I don't think that's new, I think that's old, and other than that I believe everything is intact. The worst part is the holy grail here. I busted up the speedo and that's hanging off, and there's a gasket that was kind of hanging in there. I pulled that off. I hope this still works and I can reattach this and salvage that, but if it doesn't, I'm kind of screwed with that. That is like a $200 piece. This mirror right here was this. So that was the mirror that was on there. It was a cheapo from my other V65 Sabre. So that's done. And this piece on the side, this guy mounts up here, and what ended up happening was when I laid it over, this cracked in, this got pushed right into this coolant hose and cracked that coolant hose, so that's why I lost all my coolant. Other than that, this is a little kinked in, but I believe everything is okay. I'm gonna add coolant, run it, and see if I have any leaks. I did order a new one of these and it came in. It's cracked, but not as bad as this, so I think the new one will be fine. If not, that's not bad. I can clean it up. The mounting brackets are still fine, and that would fit on there. So anyway, that might be trash. I'm not sure. Still have dirt here. Even though I hit a curb, everything seems fine on the tire and the wheel. So that seems to be okay. That's fine. What else? This crash bar, I don't know what it looked like before, but it is obviously like pushed in, but it's still protecting everything it needs to protect. It's not touching anything. So I tried to bend it out a little bit and it doesn't want to budge. So I think all in all, the crash bar did its job and is functioning correctly, so I don't have to mess with that. Dirt and ick from the coolant spraying out as I rode is evidence of a problem. I'm gonna have to clean that up. I think we added this mark, and there's obviously dirt there. This was bent pretty much into here, so I had to bend that out to ride it, and I bent it out when I got home. I think it's in the right spot now. I'll have to use my foot to make sure. This was just basically pivoted back a little bit, so I loosened it and pulled it forward. I think that's in the right spot now. The side cover had actually fallen off and was sitting back on the roadside, but it's in good shape. I'm gonna have to pull it off and make sure. It always sat weird, but it's a little loose, so I'm gonna have to make sure it's not gonna go flying off on me. So I have to make sure that is in place. This turn signal got knocked off. It still works. I reattached it, put a different screw in because it was busted out on the mounting point. So that's solid. A little bit of dirt there. I'm lucky I had all this on here because I think I would have done more damage if I didn't have the crash bar down here, and I just put that on, so I'm kind of glad that was on there. As far as the handlebars go, this must have caught here and just turned it in a little bit, so all I had to do was loosen up the bracket right in here. So I loosened that up and pushed it out a little bit. I think it's where it needs to be now. So other than this was hanging off also, I was able to reattach that, and this was loose to begin with. So I might put a different turn signal on there, but it works and everything is good. I busted this fuse box. I have a new cover here, so I will replace that. And the headlight was aimed differently. I think I moved it back into a spot, which is good. I think it's lined up pretty decent. So other than that, I think we're all fine. Once I put coolant in, if I have no leaks, we'll be good. We didn't talk about that girl yet. So that's for another video. Do you notice? V45 Sabre, V65 Sabre. Yeah, so that's for another day. So anyway, I think that's all the damage adjustments. Of course, I had to put this new tube on. There's a mounting bolt here that I took off so I could fit that in there, and I think we're good. I ordered that off of eBay. It's a used part, fits right in there. I tried to use a piece from just a random generic piece from the parts store, and it didn't seem to work great, so I ordered one off eBay. So what I need to do yet, get out a funnel, and I got green coolant. That's all you need. I had an empty bottle, so what I did was, I'm cheap, so I bought the concentrated, and then it has to be 50-50 with distilled water. So I got my old bottle here, filled that up halfway with this because you can actually see what halfway would be. So I filled that with halfway this, and I put that in till that was full, and then I put the rest of the water in here. So now I need to label these. They are 50-50. So all I need to do is fill up the radiator here, run it, make sure that this stays full. I don't even know where the reservoir is, so I'll have to find the reservoir. I'm assuming, I don't want to break this if it's gonna be fine. There we go. Oh, that's right, the battery was hanging off of this thing because I noticed there was no bolt holding this in, and there is a hole right here where that bolt should be, but it was just zip tied, and that's how it was held in there. So the zip tie broke, probably pushed this back. I see it's actually, this needs to be bent forward. So that can line up again. Maybe I'll put an actual bolt in there this time, but that was just zip tied in there. So at least it didn't break, it just came loose. How is it zip tied? Just around the frame? I guess so. And then yeah, everything fired back up, everything was fine, but when I picked the bike up, the battery was hanging off, and that did not look like a good situation. So that'll push back over there. There, everything lines up pretty good. So do I find a bolt and stick it in there? Maybe I do. All right, so that was it for damage, but I will make sure that my coolant is all filled up and run it a while, make sure it's all full, make sure I have no leaks. And then I'll take a couple trips around town and make sure that the clutch doesn't fail on me again. That's the other thing I'll probably do, is bleed out the clutch and put in new fluid and make sure that it is functioning as it should. Have to make sure the headlight is facing perfectly. So, okay, I just filled up about half a gallon of coolant into the radiator, and it is coming out the top. By the way, I did order a new used radiator just to be sure, because I don't want to be stuck if I really didn't get this fixed. And I mean, I noticed there's a hole here. Honestly, we're not leaking. Now this is a freaking mess. The coolant overflow reservoir over here was still full, so I don't know how that works, but that didn't affect, nothing affected that at all. And this is getting hot, so it's coming up. And right now we're sitting almost to mid, so the thermostat should open, but I'm quite confident. This blew a little white smoke at the beginning and I was nervous, but I figured it was going to clean itself out. It has, so I don't think we have any major issues internally. And as far as I need to get this little metal from that puncture out, and I think I can get the cap on and we should be good. So it's starting to rain, so I probably shouldn't have my fuses exposed, and I don't want rain getting into all this. I still don't know if the speedo works, but I do know these gauges work. I'm low on gas, but that makes sense because I've got 168 miles. But coolant wise, that's working, time's working, and revs is working. So I'm happy with the progress. I'll keep you updated. Okay, that closed now. Or the thermostat looks like it opened. So good, I think we're functioning. So I'm gonna button this up, get the cap on here, and make sure I put the battery back together. That's an update on the wrecked Sabre V65 Honda. The 84 Honda V65 Sabre. So hopefully we are good to go once all this is settled, and I will be happy and we can get her back on the channel. So there you go, coolant in today, and then we'll be looking at that guy. And then the Magna's sitting in here. I bought a battery for it, and I have to put the carbs back on and set it all up, and then that should be ready to go. So good times are coming. See you later on the channel. Subscribe and have a great day.